That has one picture of me. Okay, so hypothetically, if you wanted to do something really dumb and overload your processor, slash fill RAM slash break computer. And this won't be a permanent break, it'll just force you to restart. If you wanted to do this, what is a thing that you could do? Yes.
You want to start something else that starts itself back up.
Yes. You want a program that does something like this. First step. Do something. The usual is just do some calculation. Right? Like, add 2 and 3. Is that going to take a lot of processor time? Hell no. Right? So then what you do, the next thing you do, is you start 2 copies of this program. Right? So what's it going to do? You're going to have this one program that you run, right? And then it's going to add 2 and 3. It's going to get 5 and actually do nothing with it, right? Like I didn't tell it to do anything with 5. What's it going to do next? It's going to launch 2 copies of itself. Right? What are each of those going to do? No, first they're going to add 2 and 3, and then they're going to launch 2 copies of themselves. You guys see this? What are each of those 4 things going to do? They're going to add 2 and 3 again, and then they're going to launch 2 more copies of themselves. Right? What does this thing look like? This looks like bacteria in an unregulated environment with infinite resources, right? What's the problem with that? You don't have infinite resources, right? And computer programs are not quite like bacteria. When they get to that, like, this is the end of the resources, right? They're not going to die. They're just going to wait in line. You guys see that? So what's your processor going to do with anything else that it's trying to run?
Put it in line.
Put it in line, right? With the millions and billions of copies of this thing. You guys see that? Most processors are a little bit too smart for this nowadays, but you can still do this. Like this will fill 1 core, right? If you have a multi-core processor and you're not optimized to run programs on all the cores, you can save yourself from this a little bit. There's some server architecture that would save this from happening. But you can definitely tie up one of the cores with this. If the processor, if the computer that it's running on is optimized to try to use all the cores all at once for everything, it will bog down all 4 cores or all whatever cores. Okay, see that?
Is this our first assignment?
God, it should be.
It's our project.
Yes. Let's make this your first assignment. So your first assignment is to, and this is this is part of this class, is I'm not going to stick to one language very often. This is really easy to do with something called a batch file. Okay? So your first assignment is going to be to research batch files enough to write that. Okay? This should be a super easy thing to write. It should take about 20 minutes of your time to research batch files enough to get this to happen. Okay? I will tell you that a batch file executes in a kind of a funny way. You edit it with a text editor. So you're going to open this up in Notepad. You're going to type some stuff into Notepad. You're going to save it as a something.bat file. And then you're going to double click on this thing. Okay? Please do this on one of the lab computers, not on your own computer. Okay? Cool? Because if we dork up the lab computers, we'll just have Michael fix it. That also brings us to some things you need to have. So you need to have for the class a thumb drive, because these computers do not save. They save stuff, but there's no guarantee that somebody else won't come along later and just delete it. Cool,
Because
cool?
we don't have personal profiles anymore.
Yeah, so there's no personal profiles in here. Everybody's computer is fur1 as the password, right? So if you want to do something with one of these computers, bring a thumb drive, use that to launch your files, keep your files backed up on there. Does anybody not have a little USB stick? Cool. So for $10 on Amazon, you can get a 16 gig thumb drive. If you don't have a Prime account, talk to me later after class and I can order one for you if you want one. Cool?
If you're in Trio, we have them for free.
Sweet. You snag us? Okay. Other questions about your assignment? That's a good first assignment. A little bit of batch files. So on Thursday, we'll go around the room and share our batch files, and they'll probably all be basically identical, but it'll be fun. Cool?